Oh, look at that. One of the cops was actually bothered to show up. No need, SWAT's got it covered.
What is the situation?
Vultures came up with the great idea of robbing the OCP bank. They've got hostages, and they claim there's a bomb. They must be crazy to think that OCP will just let them leave with their money.
Was there any sighting of Spike?
Not yet. But I'm sure they wouldn't pull such a stunt without their leader.
What is the plan?
Let me make this clear. It's SWAT's plan. You're no part of it.
Then you are going to need a new plan.
With this buggy brain of yours, you think you still remember how to put the heat on them scumbags?
I prefer to serve justice cold.
Contact! Contact! Let's show our metal friend how it's done, boys. Cover me! With all that fancy tech, a brick would know how to shoot.
Robocop, I've received information that the bank manager is held hostage in the vault.
Where exactly is it?
Find the manager's office, and we'll go from there. It's at the far end of the office area.
Your presence here is unauthorized.
So is depriving thousands of people of a roof over their heads, but OCP doesn't seem to mind that.
Explain.
Delta City, a heaven on earth that OCP plans to build in place of old Detroit? A city of the future where there is no crime or poverty. Do you believe the commercials?
I am working on the no crime part.
Then OCP may become the object of your attention soon. In order to create Delta City, OCP must first get rid of people who live in old Detroit. Now that's a topic I'd rather do a story on than you glitching. OCP offered these people investment in the project. The value of their property would cover the cost of entering the business. The later gains will far outweigh the cost, supposedly.
You do not believe that?
It's OCP. There must be a catch, and I think I found it. The documents say something about additional costs. I believe that's a loophole that OCP placed in order to scam people out of their homes.
That is only suspicion.
And I need time to prove that my suspicion is true. Time and some of these documents I found. If you detain me, the SWAT jerks will requisition them.
You can go, but if you continue to disobey the law, you will be detained.
Maybe I should have treated you more like a police officer than OCP's property. Anyway, the city owes you. And I owe you too.
I can see you've reached the manager's office. Great. Now look for a switch that unlocks the doors that lead to the vault. If I was a bank manager, I would probably ask for that switch to be installed somewhere around my desk. Now, take the doors behind the desk and turn left. The way to the vault should be open now.
I will not contribute to depriving my grateful employer of his hard-earned savings. We're opening this vault with or without your help, you old nut job.
Robocop! I knew our founder would send his best.
We're not done yet.
Mr. Becker, you're still alive.
I only played dead, so I didn't end up like you, with a bomb strapped to my body.
Robocop, you have to defuse it. The explosion could cause the company enormous losses.
I need the support of a combat engineer.
I saw that Orpheus kid playing puzzle games on his breaks. Ask him for help. I'll be watching you from a safe distance.
Officer Washington, I am looking at a ticking bomb.
A bomb? Okay, I'm passing you through to the bomb squad.
There is no time. I will need your help to defuse it.
Gosh, I mean, I'll do my best, but just give me a moment. First aid, kidnapping...
Are you looking for a bomb defusing chapter in the police manual?
Found it. First rule, call qualified personnel. Oh, no. Okay, tell me what you see.
Four connectors with different voltage.
What's the highest voltage?
24 volts. It is a C4 explosive and seems to be homemade.
Yeah, that's what I'd expect from the street vultures.
4 cables, green, 2 reds, and blue.
4 cables? Got it.
Cables lead to the fuse.
Does the fuse appear to be electronic?
Affirmative.
Okay, so they used this kind of bomb before. According to the diagram, you should detach 3 cables. Start from the one with the highest voltage, then proceed down one at a time to the one with the lowest voltage.
There are 2 different color 12-volt cables. Which one do I detach first?
Maybe this isn't the time, but I'm colorblind.
I will have to improvise.
Just remember, detach the one with the highest voltage first, then proceed down to the lowest voltage.
It was just a minor incident. Ready to get back to business? Because I need to make a withdrawal. Like now.
Well, I should really check upstairs.
Nonsense. This is OCP. Money comes first. Now, open the vault.
There you go, sir.
Great. Now out of my way. What the hell is this? Where is all the money?
Our founder has most of our capital tied up in a very ambitious and resource-heavy project.
I can't believe old man's blowing all of OCP's money on Delta City.
Have some respect, young man.
Things are closing in. Are you already in the tunnels? If you're not back with the money in the next 2 minutes, we're leaving.
You should be proud to work for such a great man.
At this rate, soon there might be no one left to work for him. You see what I'm talking about?
that's how they must have gotten here in the first place. It seems they're retreating into the old industrial area. That must be where they've hidden their getaway vehicle. You gotta hurry. Robocop, there's a deserted warehouse nearby. It's the only building which the area. And it's big enough to store their vehicle. It's your best bet to proceed there.
Roger that.
StarField is ever so close, and thank you so much for that spectacular performance. Really appreciate you coming all the way for this. It's true, in just over a week, fans will start to play StarField in early access on Xbox and PC. Well, I've been lucky enough to start playing it. Don't be jealous. I'm not allowed to say anything about it. Yes, exactly. All right, well, guys. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Really disappointed. They're disappointed. That's just so disappointing. This is such a special night for so many developers. It's really disappointing to see someone act that way. But we're going to move right on with the show. We've got a lot of great games to show you. Really, it's just so sad to me to see something like that happen tonight. We're here to celebrate games in this community and how much they mean to us. So without further ado, I want to move right on with the show because we got a lot to show you. And the good news, Gamescom, is we have someone very special here who can be here to talk about StarField. Please join me in welcoming to opening night live in Gamescom for the first time ever, one of our industry's greatest creators, the director and executive producer of Bethesda Game Studios. That's right, Todd Howard, everybody. Todd, thank you so much for coming all this way to Gamescom. We have a lot to talk about with StarField, but first of all, is this true? This is your first ever time at Gamescom?
This is my first Gamescom, and you were right. You said how great the crowd is here, and and just all the fans that come here for the biggest convention in gaming to celebrate games. And I figured, it is our first new franchise in over 25 years, so if I was going to come, it's for StarField.
Well, we all welcome you to Gamescom in Germany, and we're all very excited to step into this new world, StarField, and the next week, early access. Set up for people, why did you want to make this game, Starter? Why did you want to create a new world?
I think like a lot of gamers out there, we have dreamt of a game where we look to the skies and we can blast off into space and explore. We love to make games where we can explore these worlds. We've done like with the Elder Scrolls and the Fallout series, but we wanted to do something brand new where you could explore with complete freedom in the galaxy. It's a game we've always wanted to play that we think a lot of people wanted to play as well. It's kind of that dream game.
Yeah, I wish I could talk about it, but it's quite an experience, and I know everyone here is very excited to jump in soon. You did bring some stuff to Gamescom to show to fans. I know there's a theater. Tell us, I know you've been sharing a little bit about the game, but I know there's a lot you want people to discover when they play it. What did you bring here to Gamescom?
Yeah, it's really cool. We've built a 300-person seat theater where we're actually showing the beginning of the game, and you start out as a miner, and you touch this artifact that affects you in some way, where you see a bit into space-time, and then you get to create your own character. Our games are about creating and being whoever you want, and then you're off on adventure.
Yes, let's talk a little bit about this adventure. I know, people have been wondering kind of what the main quest line is going to be after you create your character, which is something that I know. I saw even someone on the internet this week created you, I think. Did you see that? Someone tweeted a picture. They somehow figured out.
I see a lot of things on the internet. I'm not sure that's real.
Well, the thing is, I think you could literally create whoever you want and then enroll yourself into this adventure. And tell us about sort of how the adventure starts. What can we expect?
Well, you jump off. You're joining Constellation, which are the last kind of group of space explorers, like NASA meets Indiana Jones searching for these artifacts. But the story goes a lot of places. The game has a lot of surprises that we haven't talked about. I don't want to spoil them here, but really, really happy with how the story turned out and where it goes.
Yeah, it's such an epic experience, and you and your team have done so much for this industry, and the fact that you guys have worked through COVID building this and coming on the other end, we're so excited for everyone to get a chance to play it. So thank you for all you've done for our industry, Todd. Everyone, Todd Howard.
Thank you. Can't wait for you to play the game.
Thanks so much, Todd. Really appreciate it.
Basically, here we have 5 different characters that we're showing on the demo. These top 4 we were showing at ExileCon when we had it a few weeks ago. This last one here is the Druid, which is the one that we're mostly sort of showing as the new character for Gamescom. And effectively, I guess one of the sort of primary things we want to get across to people is the sort of different combinations between skills. This is like an instruction sheet that is used for in the consumer booth, so you can sort of know what you're doing. But I'm just going to go to one of the islands here, and in Act 4, and show you what the Druid can do.
Great.
So in Act 4, you have a boat, and you sort of can go to whatever of the different islands you want. They have all different little stories that you can find out about. And in the demo, we've got a few of them. There's more than just these ones, but this is what we'll do for the time being. So this is the Isle of Kin, which is an area that is a sort of like volcanic island with a whole bunch of goblins on it. And as we get here, we can show it off. So this being the Druid, it's kind of a hybrid spellcaster. So you've got both spells, and you also have a bear form. Well, in fact, more than a bear form. You have other different animal forms. So the thing people often hear for is this kind of stuff. Is this kind of stuff. So if you are in bear form, you can obviously run around. Using spells is also sort of important. And what we want to really do is make it easy for you to go from sort of spellcasting mode to bear mode very quickly. So what I can do here is if I slam down, when you use your bear form, so when you use a bear skill, you immediately just when you use a bear skill, you turn into a bear and you do the skill. When you use a spell, you sort of automatically transform and use the spell. So there's no like sort of having to manually transform from one to the other. You just use this use the skill and it does it. And there's like a sort of slight time penalty. So if you do multiple bear things in a row, that's going to be more efficient because when you transform, there's like a little time penalty, about 500 milliseconds for the transform. So you're kind of incentivized therefore to like use some spells, do what you're doing there, then turn into a bear, and then do that too.
What's happening there when he transforms? His material form is just becoming a bloody pulp?
Something like that. You can also, when you dodge roll, you can instantly transform back into your character. You can even do it mid-transform if you want, so at any time you can just kind of abort what you're doing and do it. And it's really important because in PoE, we really want to, PoE 2 that is, we really want to make sure that anytime you're feeling threatened, you can always just dodge roll to get out of there, and you're never interrupted from doing that.
And just, what's the cooldown timer on your dodges?
No cooldown, you can just do it as long as you want. So just hold the button down. I knew that. Yeah. Hold the button down and roll away to your heart's content. It's actually, originally when we made the bear, we made it so that you could dodge roll as a bear, and the animation was so fun that we decided to keep it, but just in town. So when you're in town, you can you can do your roll. Yeah, it was so funny that we don't have anything we don't have anything to do with this, so we'll just throw it in town. So anyway, let's do an abridged version of what I do in that demo room here. So effectively, what we want to make sure, as I said, is that all the skills can be used together. So this slam here causes you to stun enemies, and I've got another skill here that does a roar. And if there's any stun enemies nearby, it gives you what's called an exerted attack down here. And exerted attacks mean that when you do another slam, it gets doubled. So you see here, I got 2 slams out of that. So just to show you that again, it's the slam, and then I do the roar, and then any other skill I use, including this like rampage skill here, which does like a lot of slams. I can do like a huge amount of damage. So normally when I cast this, I just get like slam. But if I stun people, get the exert. If I stun people and get the exert, then when I'm doing it, it's slam. Like it's doubling the number. And that's also really handy because I have a few other skills I can synergize with. So one of them here is called the volcano. So when you make a volcano, when you slam down, it emits more projectiles every time slam goes off near it, which is quite fun. And of course, if I use rampage and then rampage around the volcano, I'm getting a lot of slams. And then even more than that, if I do the exert combo, get the exerted attack, cast a volcano, and then do a rampage, now I'm getting an absolute crap ton of projectiles, which annihilates bosses very easily. So this kind of thing, once again, we just really want to make sure that you get the feeling that you can use lots of skills, because in PoE 1 it was very common that you just right-click, and that was kind of all of your interaction, In PoE 2 we want to make sure that there's a lot more different things going on. I also have some wolves, which I can use, which is useful because the druid, being a hybrid, is not necessarily the most tanky character ever. Even though you can turn into a bear, you're not wearing a suit of armor, like a warrior would be, so you do have to be a bit careful. And so that's where the stunning can be really useful to incorporate as a defensive measure, but also because, things like wolves. Also things like tornado, which I don't have on this version of the character because that's in the demo version. This one's designed for players to play, and normally you get that as a quest reward a little bit later. So I can't quite show you that, but I've got a tornado skill that will suck monsters in as another sort of tactical option on the battlefield. So go on.
What's happening on your health bar there? It looks like you're building up a shield.
What
ability is triggering?
All intelligence characters, that is to say, any armor you're wearing for intelligence characters has energy shield. So that's just a sort of standard. It's just a thing that you have. So if I don't take damage for a while, then I get Halo style energy shield built up there. Anyway. So that's like a few of those interactions. But I guess another thing that is really nice to have in PoE, this being a game a lot about having interesting interactions, and but also some automation is something that we want to support, just like in PoE 1. So in the inventory here, I've got a gem called Castable Channeling, and I've got my channeling skill, which is this volcano, where if I hold it down, it goes out with more projectiles. And ideally, what I'd like to be able to do is reduce the number of skills that I need to be using to kind of pull off the combos that I'm doing, because I want to be able to have my lightning going, I want to have my volcano going, I want to be rampaging around and all that stuff. I want to kind of be able to do that stuff together a bit more easily. So I can open the skill screen here and put Castable Channeling in here. And when I do that, I'm going to take Lightning Storm and put that in as well. Let me just get rid of this annoying guy here. And now, whenever I'm channeling, I'm able to cast Lightning Storm automatically. So I'm going to enable that buff here. And now, when I use my volcano, I get the Lightning Storm happening automatically. And that's basically a little death zone here that's really handy. And then, of course, once I've got that, I can be slamming down with the bear and be creating a really nice
zone control.
Yeah, doing a thing there. So that's really nice. But we actually have another channeling skill. On the bear, which is this charge. And it's actually a bit annoying that it triggers the Lightning Storm as well, because I'd rather have my little death zone that I'm trying to do. And so that's why it's kind of useful that in PoE, any buff that you have, you can choose which weapon sets that you want to have that enabled for. So if I turn this off as a bear, I'm going to get my spirit back and disable the buff. And now, if I change to a human, the buff goes straight back on automatically. Change back to a bear and it falls back off again. So any buff you can just choose, do I want this to apply? Do I not want this to apply? Nice. And then the spirit that I'm reserving is being consumed or not consumed.
Yeah, that helps for clarity when you're planning out your abilities or attacks.
Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is, because I want to automate more things, I'm going to get cast on melee stun. I'm going to put that in here, and then I get the summon wolf ability that I have, and I'm going to put cast on melee stun with summon wolf. And that means that if I stun enough enemies, I'll be able to cast my wolf automatically, which is really nice because now I don't have to remember to cast my minions all the time. It just kind of happens automatically. And when the wolves first come out, they also do a howl, which causes them to do a crit debuff on monsters. So when I'm going to stun some guys, there wasn't quite enough charge, so I'll set 76% up the top there. There we go. So now I've got a wolf cast automatically, and now as I'm just going through, I'm just getting my wolf summoned without having to do anything. There should be another one there, and then it's especially good to use it on cast while stunning because that means I can use my exert. Sorry, I put that on the wrong keybind. Some rampage, where's the Warcraft? There it is. Where were we? Okay, right. So I can do my stunning. I get an extra wolf. Which I didn't get that time. No, I didn't. I just didn't notice. Okay, right. So do that again. Get my stun. Get a wolf. And now that I've got that, I can do my exerted attack, with the roar, which I once again failed to do the timing right because I'm in a bit of a funny setting here. Do the roar, and then I can get the rampage. And the thing is, while I'm doing that, all the monsters nearby are getting that crit debuff on them. So it's kind of a way to get more for less, if you know what I mean. Yes, that's like a quick introduction to some druid skills here. But I can also go and let me just find the boss for this area. And we'll see if we can utilize all of those elements. I'll just get some rage, which I need to be able to do my rampage a little bit further. And we'll rampage over to where the boss is, and we'll do a boss fight here, and so you can see what's going on. Where is the boss? The problem with random levels is you never know quite where the boss will be.
It's okay.
Right, there it is. So this here is an arena that the goblins have made to sort of fight their beasts against each other. And here we have the blind beast, which is one of their albino version who they've blinded. So here I want to get the... you can see, utilizing all these different attacks here. I can actually melt the boss, exactly. Because I'm getting that the volcano is actually even better. We'll have to run away from that, though. It's even better against large monsters because the projectiles hit... Because the area that the boss takes up is larger, more of the projectiles of the volcano are going to hit the boss. So that means that it's actually very advantageous... Oh, no, get away from that. Okay. It's very advantageous to be able to use volcano against a boss like this.
You gotta focus up, don't worry.
Go for it. Okay. Alright, so... sorry. Alright, oh shit. Okay, right, there we go. No, I need to stun him. Okay, there we go. Got the stun, get the exert, get the rampage. That's what I need to do. He's in the wrong place though. Okay, no, he's alright. He's moving into it. There we go. Alright, so there we go. Alright. Oh wait, no, he's doing that. So what I want to do while he's doing that is do my my channel. And ideally I can pull him back in, and then I can probably just slam. I can probably just slam. Oh yeah, there we go.
Nice.
All right, there we go. So that's the druid.
That's awesome. Yeah. Can you show me a little bit more about the loot?
There's probably not a huge amount to talk about there at the moment. I mean, it's very similar to Path of Exile 1 in that regard. I mean, there's a lot of changes under the hood. But I guess one thing that we do want to make sure of is that in PoE 1 we had a problem with way too many white items on the ground, this kind of stuff. In PoE 2 we really want to improve the loot. There's a few different ways we're addressing that. One of them is gold, which we added. Another one though is that the effect of what's called item rarity does a lot more now. So what that means is that bosses are much likely to get dropped better items rather than more items, which is a better thing for the player. Means you don't have as much spam everywhere. So this particular boss dropped an attribute gaining quest item, so I can use that and get some more attributes. So that's a reason to do one of these side bosses. And then if you like, I can go to a different character class and show you some other stuff there. If you like.
Let's sure.
В Озон.бг те очакват хиляди идеи за свободното време. При нас ще намериш всичко за геймера. За музикалния експерт. За търсача на знания. За малкия фен. За любителя на игри и за пъзел маниака. Изиграй с куката с Озон.бг.
mines of Moria. I hope you lead to Dwarodelf and some treasures along the way.
A day of toil, my pick and soil, over oil till days and way. Hey, when the work is done, ale in my hand by the hearth. Something out there.
There's something over there.
The crystal descent is beautiful, but what is in the lower deeps?
Better loot's always deeper. Everyone knows that.
It feels like we're descending into history.
The Feywilds await, and so too Nightingale. Awaken your first portal and tread on towards that which is boundless, beyond the measurable. Sequestered, struck by woe and lacking supplies, the question becomes, wilt thou be a survivor? Regardless of which portal variety you favor, realm cards will be necessary.
The chainsword is one of my favourite weapons in all of science fiction. It has the form factor of a medieval longsword, but the blade is made up of dozens of chainsaw teeth that rip and tear into flesh. In a single strike, it captures both the gothic aesthetic and violent excess of Warhammer 40,000. And this weapon is the brutal, snarling heart of the long-awaited Space Marine 2. I recently played an hour of the sequel to what many consider to be the best Warhammer 40k action game ever made. And from what I've seen, it appears that new developer Saber Interactive definitely understands what made the 2011 original, created by Relic Entertainment, work so well. Space Marine 2 is a shooter melee hybrid that falls somewhere between Gears of War and Doom, a linear third-person campaign filled with intense, gory monster battles. And like its predecessor, it appears to be unapologetically straightforward in its pursuit of increasingly bloody encounters against overwhelming odds. The mission I played, aptly named Invasion, had me carve a a path of corpses through jungle swamps and concrete bunkers during the early stages of an alien attack. The invading Tyranids arrive in swarms, courtesy of Saber's impressive World War Z engine, which can render 1,000 enemies on screen. A tidal wave of raptor-like Hormagaunts, supported by handfuls of imposing warriors, crash against barricades and buildings. They even clamber over each other to form writhing towers that scale sheer walls. While at range your guns will easily tear these crowds apart, there's simply not enough ammunition in the galaxy to hose them all down before they break through your line of fire. That's where Space Marine 2 switches into melee mode, and the satisfying strikes of its chainsword come into play. Shooting feels sturdy and powerful, but it's in the middle of blood-soaked brawls that Space Marine 2 really comes alive. Saber has put together a well-judged melee system that has depth thanks to combos, parries and dodges, but is still simple enough for you to largely revel in the slaughter. The smaller Hormagaunts are essentially powerless against your strikes. Those that try to leap at your face can be caught mid-air and slammed into the ground for an instant kill, but the sheer number of them means they can gnaw away at your armour. Should they break through, they'll be able to damage your precious health bar, which is primarily replenished with rarely found medical kits. Staying alive in the midst of these hordes, then, is not quite as easy as it first seems for your 8 feet tall, armour-clad Ultramarine. This is where Space Marine 2's executions come into play. They're a bit like Doom's glory kills. If you can perform a brutal execution move on an enemy, part of your 4-segment armour bar is replenished. The bigger and nastier the enemy, the more armour you regain. And so when fights in my demo began, I instantly sought out the bigger warriors. They're a much more imposing challenge. With arms made of swords, they make for a proper duel. Parries are vital, as is watching out for unblockable attacks that you need to dodge. Performing a good counter or a stun combo opens them up for a point-blank pistol shot to the face. Do enough damage, and you can eventually trigger an execution finisher. These are gloriously gory, with the chainsword cutting its way through flesh and bone in a spray of blood that repaints your blue marine red. But the real prize is the replenished armour that keeps you in the fight. And so appears the flow of Space Marine 2. With so few medic packs in the demo mission, I desperately needed to keep my armour topped up. In the latter half of my hands-on, I had just a smidge of health left, and so my survival completely hinged on my ability to keep those executions coming. It altered how I approached each encounter. I'd thin out a crowd with bursts of gunfire and grenades, but ensure plenty of targets remained alive so I could charge into melee and perform those executions. It made the entire second half of the mission a tense battle for survival. My Ultramarine's life quite literally depended on tearing the guts out of disgusting Tyranids.
The shadows were gone, or just out of sight. The subway car had become a burnt husk. I could get through it now. None of this was real. It was real.
Waking up in places with no memory of how I'd gotten there. It was out of control. I didn't need another mugshot in the fucking tabloids. Had I already done the show? Hello?
Alan Wake?
Yes.
Do you know who I am?
No. Who is this?
We'll get to that later. There are spies all over. Shadows.
A sense of deja vu washed over me. Had I had this conversation before?
Alan, listen to me carefully.
Do I know you? I know you from somewhere.
You've just forgotten again. We're in this together. Don't worry. I got it now. We've been working. Great.
I'm losing you. Hello? Hello?
I need to check the general store for the heart. Sounds like somebody's home. text on the heart is clearer now. Legible. I knew it would be here. Like I saw it in a dream.
By 2035, we have formed a new breed of elite special forces who are better prepared to manage these latest threats to our global societies. No fear, no retreat.
Recon arrow out.
Using smoke screen. Powering up. Let's do this.
Soldiers, you're depleting their numbers. Try to finish them all.
Hold the line. Here comes the last push.
Delta Force was one of the first shooters I played, and it's big. The American world just got me. We want to bring that back to FPS games. Our team is filled with die-hard Delta Force fans who grew up playing the original title on PC. That's why we are so excited to bring you a new next-generation tactical shooter game. Say hello to Delta Force Hawk Ops.
Mission completed is the mantra for Delta Force operators. Delta Force Hawk Ops has a variety of unique operators that you can choose to play. Each playable operator will feature their own signature weapon, combat gear, and even some exclusive items. For example, Direwolf is an operator who can activate Overload mode and charge straight into enemy territories with guns blazing.
We recreated the original Delta Force game experience with the most advanced engine, combining with our own graphic technology, and use of photogrammetry tag for both our characters and the world. Our team took a thrilling expedition to see Northwest Africa, seeing its natural beauty while learning about the local ecology and cultures. We've enlisted former Navy SEALs as trusted advisors to make sure our operators daisy with fusion of swag while maintaining the authenticity we know Delta Force fans demand.
Delta Force Hawk Ops will have you hooked whether you are playing on your PC, console, or mobile devices. We've teamed up with key technology partners like NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel to deliver some truly remarkable visual effects. Prepare to be blown away by NVIDIA's groundbreaking innovations like ray tracing, DLSS3, and Reflex.
We are dedicated to providing players all around the world with a fun, smooth, easily accessible gameplay experience. And we are also ramping up the quality of the enemy AI. Be ready for some brutal foes.
Delta Force Hawk Ops is not just another shooter game. It serves as a portal to a futuristic realm, while technology holds both incredible power and daunting challenges. And as part of that ambition, we are bringing back one of the most beloved Delta Force titles as a single-player campaign mode, Black Hawk Down. We also provide a large-scale, immersive, thematic world where things can rock in every turn. Please join us as we embark on the new era of Delta Force Hawk Ops.
Its close third-person camera perspective, linear but open level design, a mix of environmental puzzles and hard-hitting melee combat are all present. But there's more than meets the eye here. After playing a whole quest, I've discovered that beneath the surface lies a soul just as connected to the Life is Strange series developer Dontnod is famed for as it is to Sony's godly behemoth. You play as Red, a Scotsman in 1695 North America, who's taken up the profession of Banisher, a sort of exorcist witcher who hunts ghosts rather than monsters. But he also has a greater, more personal purpose. Red's romantic partner, Antia, recently met a tragic fate, and so his primary objective is now to find a way to bring her back to life. That's one option, anyway, but we'll get to that. Beyond its third-person action flourishes, Banishers is hiding a choice-based adventure firmly rooted in developer Dontnod's DNA. It provides a mix of violence and delicacy that could be felt clearly as I played through an hour-long mission from one of its earliest chapters. Arriving in a small 17th century East Coast settlement made up of ramshackle log cabins and huts that had seen better days, I was quickly introduced to the town's matriarch, an imposing woman by the apt name of Thickskin. She had little time for small talk, but all the time in the world for big beasts. After tasking me with a mission to rid the town of a mysterious ghostly monster that's been terrorising its inhabitants for quite some time, I set off into the wilderness in search for clues. First though, I'd need a gun, and in order to get it, I had to navigate a conversation with Thickskin's much less evocatively named sister, Kate. While the dialogue choices made here had no bearing on the outcome, you'll always get the gun. It did teach me more about the family dynamics at play here, information that would later aid me in making a much bigger decision. With my new gun slung over my shoulder, I headed into the altogether unwelcoming woods in search of my prey. It wasn't long before grunts from beyond the grave looked to stop me in my tracks, however, allowing me to put my musket to good use. Its old school kick delivers a satisfying shot as punchy bullets crash into bone, but a lengthy reload fitting of the error stops you from sending another in quick succession. You'll have unlimited ammo, but this reload time adds a natural risk-reward aspect as it leaves you vulnerable while you prepare another loaded chamber. Melee combat, then, is something you'll be utilising with far more regularity. On the surface, it's not dissimilar from the raft of action RPGs you'll have played in recent years. A standard mix of light and heavy attacks, dodges and blocks are punctuated by some of Banisher's more unique approaches to combat. You see, Antia may be dead, but she's still by your side in spectral form, and she's just as up for the fight as you are. Switching to her in combat opens up new possibilities, albeit not drastically different ones. She's still melee-focused, preferring bare fists to Red's cutlass, but is in command of a powerful area of effect attack that deals ghostly green damage to any ghoul around. And where Red has a health bar to manage and top up, Antia has no more life to fill a bar with. Instead, magic is her vitality. This is where the music to Banisher's combat dance is written, building up Antia's mana bar by attacking as Red before switching to his dead lover to send a kiss of death to their enemies. You can switch to Antia at any time outside of combat too, as she's the vital key to solving some relatively basic environmental puzzles, but she is also a sort of spirit detective that can inspect spectral dust for clues to what has happened to the people of this place. Gaining new information not only fleshes out these ghost stories, but any scrap of intel could also prove crucial when faced with the big decision that will seemingly occur at the end of each mission. More on that in a little bit. Echoes and visions of villagers' grisly demises only add to the creepy, uneasy tone that Banishers perpetuates throughout. Inspired by films like The Revenant and The Village, it's a New England setting haunted by old evils. That tone translates onto the enemies you'll face, who primarily consist of mangled collections of bones suspended by a ghoulish green glow. Waves of foes were made up of relatively basic melee and ranged units during this early section, but every now and then a stronger test would be posed. Enter the fearsomely named Nicholas Doolan, a reanimated corpse of a mini-boss that aims to pick you off at range with a musket of his own, while swamping you with his skeletal friends. It posed a welcome challenge that made me juggle all the tools at my disposal. Of course, because we're in the year 2023, there are multiple ability, upgrade and crafting menus to sift through in order to tailor your playstyle to your liking. Banishers developers promise not to overload you with too many types of weapons or armors to collect though, instead letting you choose which of its modest offerings to specialise in and upgrade to their maximum level. I didn't get to experiment too much with these systems during my limited time with the game, but glimpses of powerful arcane abilities can be seen in some of the game's trailers, suggesting an exciting level of skill progression. Combat is not necessarily where I see Banisher's most interesting promises lying though. Instead, I'm drawn towards its story and the impact your aforementioned choices will have on it. The mission ends with a ritual that summons a visually impressive boss battle. A huge clawed beast made up of rock, bones and branches scratches and swipes at you as you chip away at its equally large health bar. It was a fun, three-stage fight that married the combat of previous encounters with in-world lore as each fleshless limb was banished after the next. The encounter itself is not revolutionary when compared to the action RPGs Dontnod appears to take inspiration from, but what happened next is where Banishers sets itself apart. Using all of the knowledge gained from the journey and tales told by memories of the dead, a fuller picture of the curse befouling the town is painted. These facts are crucial when making a critical choice involving the fate of the two sisters met during the mission's opening. I won't reveal the nature of their story, but rest assured it's one filled with horror and tragedy befitting of the setting. It's not told through the most poetic of prose, but one that admirably establishes a bond between its characters in a short amount of time. The decision you have to make is a clear one, with genuine consequences for not just the sisters, but also Red and Antea. Pick the cutthroat option, and the path towards Antea's resurrection will be further walked along. But opt for the more merciful route, and you'll instead push Antea in the direction of ascending to the afterlife. It's this central conflict that will likely propel Banishers through its 20 to 30 hour story, and one I'm sure will be riddled with all sorts of ethical conundrums, as the temptation to return Antea to her corporeal form looms. While it may not have the level of quality in its writing, or ferocity in its combat to match the calibre of games it's evoking, Don't Nod's trademark choice-based narrative systems are where Banishers differentiates itself. Despite only playing for an hour, I found myself quickly invested in Red and Antea's story, and intrigued by what the remainder of Banishers' tale, and indeed my own decisions, have in store for them. I look forward to seeing what dark, sad, and likely horrific places it takes me to next.